Hello everyone, I'm the French Monk and welcome back to Chronicles Medieval. In this video we're going to take a look at a more in-depth overview given to us by the developers where they answer some of the more frequently asked questions of the community. Next to that, we're also provided with some new screenshots and the promise of more updates in the future as the development of this game progresses. Sadly, if you've been keeping up on gaming news and you've been following Gamescom, you know that there weren't any new big announcements in regards to this game at the world's largest public event for video games. The developers let us know that they weren't quite ready for their next grand reveal just yet, but they did release a developer blog recently, as well as some new screenshots which we'll dive into. So, with that having said, let's get started with getting some answers on frequently asked questions from you guys. So one of the reasons of why this game is linked or compared so heavily to Bannerlord, or the Mount & Blade series in general for that matter, obviously has to do with its description. Chronicles Medieval lets you step into a vast, dynamic medieval sandbox where you create your own character and forge your path from rags to riches, earning your name in skirmishes, field battles and sieges, shaping your destiny in this living, breathing realm where every decision echoes throughout history and every sword swing could change your fate. Not to mention, the developers themselves mentioned that the game was inspired by other medieval games such as Mount & Blade, Crusader Kings 3 and Battle Brothers when the first ideas for Chronicles began to form. These titles all bring something unique to the setting, and with Chronicles the developers are hoping to provide something different as well. Namely an experience that truly molds itself around the player's choices. Now, to answer the question of it being an open world or something different, Chronicles Medieval features an overworld map explored from a top-down perspective. The developers call it the exploration map. This, much like in Mount & Blade, allows you to navigate through this world and explore any accessible region on the map. As you explore this medieval European world, you will encounter points of interests like settlements, battlefields, camps and so on, many of which you can enter as it will transition seamlessly into a detailed third-person perspective for a much closer and more immersive experience. In addition, the developers are working on a layered fog of war system, which should make exploration more immersive and strategic. So say you are exploring the map. Areas that you've never visited remain completely hidden, blacked out or obscured to capture the mystery of the unknown. This of course until you visit the place. So that is layer 1. Layer 2 is when you have explored a particular area but it has been a while since last you've been there. The information you've gathered there is thus outdated. This doesn't mean that all of the information is false, some of it might be true, but since this is a living and breathing world, some things could have changed. When you return to this area, you could reveal new threats or opportunities. Layer 3 is when the regions you are exploring are within your party's line of sight, so within your current scouting range. The information you are getting is live and accurate, which should give you the full tactical picture of the area. So as mentioned, this layered visibility adds tension and depth to your choices. It also emphasizes the power of information. It's important to strategize before making a rushed decision. In Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, you can opt between the sandbox mode, basically a free play mode in the world of Calradia, or the campaign mode that allows you to complete story quests, with the main quest revolving around assembling the Dragon Banner, supporting an existing faction or creating one yourself, ultimately unifying or defeating the Empire. These can still be ignored by the player in favor of a sandbox-style gameplay. Now in Chronicles Medieval there is no predefined linear story. Instead, you will be able to select a historical chapter, for example, the 100 Years' War, with dynamic world events happening related to the chapter that you have chosen. So while it will not have a fixed narrative that you can follow, you will encounter a variety of quests which are often rooted in historical context. These quests differ in length, complexity and consequence, offering you meaningful choices that shape both your character and the world around you. So it's all about the sandbox style storytelling, giving you the tools, setting and opportunities to craft your own unique journey. And along the way you will interact with powerful factions, navigating their agendas and rivalries either through diplomacy or brute force. You can rise through the ranks and leave your mark on the era. So you will select a chapter out of a list of historical chapters that is the most interesting to you, and you will develop your story within that chapter. Each playthrough occurs within a single historical chapter, and they will last up to 35 in-game years, with each scenario focusing on a particular era spanning between the 14th and 15th century. Obviously, just like in Mount & Blade, time passes and your character ages, and when you retire, you will receive a summary of your journey, a reflection of the legacy you've built, as it were. So there is in fact a limit, a 35-year limit, which I'm not yet sure how I feel about that, knowing that in Mount & Blade you can live longer than that in-game and have children and continue with the same playthrough for in-game decades. So while a 35-year limit is fine, I think the game should probably have an option to extend it to indefinitely. I'm pretty sure mods will be able to remove the time limit for those wanting to play longer with their character. In any case, for those who do not want to have it extended or play longer, I feel like it's very simple. You just press that good old exit button, right? I do think that the simulation, or rather the sandbox world, should be able to run well after you reached that 35-year limit that they've put on it. Perhaps have the credits play then, or show your statistics, and then offer the player the option to either continue playing on the map afterwards or not. Because imagine that you're playing the game and like you are about to fight a massive battle, or you are on the verge of conquering a castle, and the game suddenly has this message pop up in the center of your screen. Yup, your 35 years are over, that's it for you, you reached the max. Here's what you achieved in this time period, and then you click on OK, and it directs you to the main menu. Oof, that would be horrible, right? I personally hope it's not going to be anything like this. I've seen players speculate on that the 35 years applies to the length of the chapter and not the life of your character, and that you can retire manually, so that the decision would be yours. But this is again speculation. Same goes for having children that you would be able to play as going into the next chapter. A lot of players do like to spend a lot of time in their worlds, going as far as even playing as the children of the character they started their journey with. So far there's sadly no indication that you can have children in this game, and this is likely a deliberate choice from the developers, as they want an ending that the player has to work towards. Guess we'll have to see in due time how this will be approached. For me it's probably one of those things that I'm not overly keen on. The possible cap on the length of my playthrough, that is. Let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below, especially if there are those among you that know for sure if the developers are going for one option or the other. Now on to the next question. So Chronicles Medieval will offer a top-down as well as a third-person perspective. The top-down view is used when you are traveling the overworld map, much like you do in Mount & Blade, whilst third-person mode is enabled when you visit cities, take part in battles, missions, and more. You cannot freely toggle at any time between these modes. It will be third-person mode when you are visiting points of interest and partaking in activities on the map, such as battles, and once you exit those, you will be looking at the overworld map from a top-down perspective. Chronicles Medieval blends strategic planning with third-person action. Before any battle takes place, you will be setting your tactics, meaning your initial orders and/or unit placements. Once you've done those, you'll be diving into the fight head-on, issuing commands as the chaos unfolds around you. The developers tell us it's not a traditional top-down RTS. They really want to capture the heat of the battle and not just have it be managed from above. Think immersive and dynamic. They add to this that this system is still evolving, with the team actively experimenting to strike the right balance between fun and realism. For those of you not at all interested in getting into the fight, and much rather want to lean into diplomacy and trade, or take the pacifist path, they offer a robust auto-resolve system which will handle these battles for you with plausible outcomes and realistic damage. Naturally, if you're not commanding your troops yourself, the outcomes of these battles may not always have an ideal outcome. being at risk of losing more soldiers than when you yourself were commanding the army.
Fine.
So in short, you got your general layer, which is your pre-battle command stage and where you set the strategy, deploy your troops and decide how the fight begins. Once battle commences, you enter into the captain layer, which is in third-person perspective and where you will be issuing real-time orders to nearby units whilst navigating the battlefield. When you yourself get up close and personal with the enemy, you step into the combat layer, directly engaging enemies and being in the thick of the action. You can actually switch seamlessly between the captain and combat layers as you go, handing out orders and commanding troops as you stay immersed in the fight. The developers have some ideas for the player to access the general layer mid-battle, but they feel that it's not the time to reveal those just yet. I'll add to this that more gameplay footage will be released in future developer updates, as well as sneak peeks at work in progress content and awesome features. Absolutely. So for the early access, there will be the option to play custom battles with a friend and being able to team up with them. The developers mentioned that for the full release of Chronicles Medieval, their vision is to bring co-op mode to the campaign. Very ambitious, and exactly how this will work is still being developed, so I can't really share any more than what the developers share with us in this Q&A. I just know that co-op play has been something that a lot of players requested for Bannerlord. Just how cool it would be to play a campaign with your friend, going each your own direction or traveling together and making a name for yourselves. I'm really excited to see how they intend to approach this and more importantly, if they will be able to realize their vision. So yes, as I highlighted in my previous video on Chronicles Medieval, the developers have approached several Bannerlord modding teams to work with them in order to build strong modding tools from the start. This ensures that the platform is future-proofed for community creativity, with their goal to make modding as accessible as possible with strong documentation and support to help modders get started. It is still early days for this, of course, but I think it is a massive green flag that they actively sought out experienced modders to get this set up properly. I think this form of communication shows a level of trust and openness towards the community, which I can only say is something that I respect and appreciate. The sneak peeks and updates that they've been showing and posting in the meantime are a testament to that. These range from showcasing what a castle wall can look like, which honestly looks really impressive. I especially like the details of the parts of the wall being weathered by time. You can actually see chunks out of it, some of the stones being dislodged, creating this fragmented, brittle appearance. You also got the moss growing on it, so really cool stuff. Next to that, they also provided us with a look at some holy sites, from grand cathedrals to secluded shrines, which they hint at you can look at. One of the questions that people asked was if politics and religion will play a role in this game. Politics and social dynamics, the developers mention, are an integral part of the experience of Chronicles Medieval. When it comes to religion, as it was a pretty important part of the medieval world, they want to have it reflected in various ways. So the church will be present, but the exact scope is still being mapped out. I think it's telling that we got these kind of structures present in the game. I think it would actually be cool to enter these structures in any case. Next up, we got a sneak peek at a knight's armor and its intricate craftsmanship, as well as some horse armor. A good look and one of many varieties. So that was it for the first actual update video since the game was announced. I didn't cover all the questions. I felt like some of them were not as interesting as others that were asked, or in some cases the answers were not as detailed. So if you do want to check out the full developer post, I highly recommend to check out their Discord server, the link to which can be found in the description down below. That way you can read the full developer blog yourself. And if you would rather have me look up all the information and provide it to you guys in these kind of update videos, by all means hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, so I know that I can keep you guys posted on this game and you can stay up to date on the latest videos of my channel. With that having said, I want to thank you for watching this video and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care everyone.